This is Between Classes, a Qurtuba Islamic Academy production.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and a very warm welcome this morning to Between Classes by QIA. This is the school community podcast where learners play hosts of engaging and enlightening discussions, heartwarming interviews, and thought-provoking conversations that reel in both the young and elderly. And it's great to have you in our company this morning for a very, very exciting discussion this morning. My name is Ebrahim Moosa, guest educator here at Qurtuba Islamic Academy. But the man who's asking all the hot questions this morning is Hafidh Huzaifah Mosam, grade 10 learner here at QIA. Huzaifah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you doing?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, Moulana.
Alhamdulillah, all good this morning, and hoping to hear you firing up, inshallah, for our very special guest who's sitting to the left of me this morning, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, in his proudly South African garb. Doctor, great to have you in our company here at the school for Between Classes at QIA. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you. And Jazakallah for the invite, and Jazakallah for this beautiful school that I'm seeing for the first time.
Jazakallah khairan. I don't know if you feel as if you're back at school or you're back in a school chair this morning. I don't want it to be like that. Obviously, we want you to be our teacher this morning and guide us through the discussion, inshallah. I just want to ask you, Doctor, in terms of a typical day, we are sitting here early in the morning at school, but I've seen you many a time, just in passing at an airport or on a plane. And it's almost as if this has been your life every day since 1992. On the go, no office hours, responding to calls, sending messages, making interventions all the time. Is that an accurate reflection of your life?
Yes, it's actually 33 years of Gift of the Givers. It'll be 34 in August this year, and 2 years prior to Gift of the Givers, as a non-organization. But I mean, at those first 2 years was nothing compared to what it is now. And now it's much worse than what it was in the beginning. It has grown tremendously. The problem is the growth is huge. There's many more offices. There used to be one staff. Now there's 750 staff worldwide. There's offices in several countries. There's multiple offices in South Africa. There's almost 100 vehicles that we own. There's warehouses all over the country. It's still 24 hours in a day. And so you have to fit all that in the same amount of time. And that's going on-site visits, discuss lectures like this podcast. In 2024, I did 204 lectures in the country. I did 187 last year. That excludes my site visits, setting up projects, and visiting projects, meeting people, and doing things on the phone. My son is stuck in this country. I got a problem in this site, some other kind of issue. I got some problem in the hospital. We don't do disasters only. We got 21 different types of projects. We build houses. We do agriculture. We provide fodder for the farmers. We spend 400 million rand to save the farmers in the Northern Cape. We do boreholes, close to reach 600 boreholes now. Disasters we specialize. Last year, just in Cape Town, just in one province, Western Cape, and mostly Cape Town and surrounds, we responded to 140 fires and storms. That's in one area alone. That's besides the other places. So it's a lot of, practical hands-on stuff, and also management of teams. Of course, I got great teams. I don't have to micromanage everybody. They just know what to do. They don't need to call me. When a disaster hits, they know exactly what to do. I just supervise and check from the top. If I have to go specifically to make some intervention, then I would go. But it's building and having great teams, and great teams need communication. They need you to talk to them. They need you to know what's going on. And as there's media interventions, there's just a lot of things to do. So yes, it takes a lot of time.
So Dr. Imtiaz, why don't you take us all the way back? What was it like growing up in Potchefstroom as a young boy in your schooling career?
I miss my hometown. Not much of my family is left now. Most of them have passed on. But it was great. It was like, it's what we actually need today, where we need community parenting. In those days, everybody was your father, your brother, your sister, your uncle. Everybody was part of your family. It was such a great spirit. There was no ego. There was no anger. People, if there was a wedding, you can't invite the whole town. Right? And weddings were not big like how we have them these days. So everybody helps in the wedding, but they're not invited, but they don't have a problem with that. Funeral, of course, everybody gets involved either way, And if there's any special function, somebody gets sick, somebody had an accident, everybody is there to help for each other. It happens today, but it's very, very different in the small community. And if your child is naughty and you phone the father, your child was did this, that, and the other, I think you just got to sort it out. And the father would say, my child is your child, give him 2 slaps, And of course, there was no corporal punishment, but it just meant sort him out. And they didn't mind. Today, you tell a guy, your kid is out of line, they tell you, hey, got nothing to do with you, mind your business. It's ego. Society has transformed. The tragedy of all this is we have more Quran, more Umrah, more Hajj, more fasting, more Islamic schools, more Islamic teachings, but it's missing in terms of the faith and the character they had in those days. They were much more stronger with less knowledge and less information. We've got all the knowledge and information, but the practice is a problem.
Sometimes, Doctor, when a person looks back in life and you look at the intentions that one's parents had for one, or particular interventions that they made in their lives to be able to shape you. You don't see it apparently, but in retrospect, you're able to see certain decisions that basically now play out in your life. Looking back at your upbringing, were there certain things that you feel were done that shaped or set you out on this path?
My entire gift of the gifts portfolio, I thank my mother and my father. But taqdeer, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. But Allah prepares you in a certain way. You don't know what's going to happen. So, for example, and before I say that, let's go back to what I was talking about. My family people were not very knowledgeable on Islam. They didn't know much about what the Quran had to say and what the Hadith had to say, but they had a lot of faith. You have to do this in the right way, you got to do this in a certain way. They had a lot of respect in religion. My father, my great-grandfather was in a shop. My grandfather was in a shop. My father and his brother were in a shop. I ended up in a shop, but during school time. And then my father would say, okay, we're setting up another shop next to the shop, you can run that one. So after hours and weekends, I would actually run the entire shop myself. I order the stock, I set the prices, I do the marketing on the window, I pack the stuff, I talk to the customers, I learn management. I didn't realize all that is going to be so useful to me so many years later. But it shows an important aspect. It showed trust. My father had trust in me. And that came out after I started the gift of the givers, and I'll tell you what happened then. But he had total trust in me. That's the first thing. And then I would help him. It was bonding, which unfortunately I failed totally with my kids. My father and him and I should sit in the shop till late at night, pack the shoes, prepare for the end of the month, Christmas time, Easter time, big sales, those kind of stuff. It was fun in those days. Go with him to the factory, buy the shoes, tell me which one you like, which ones are good. And it gives you the opportunity to do things for yourself. There was bonding without you realizing there was bonding. Take me to the tennis court. He was the secretary of the Western Transvaal Tennis Union. He was involved in soccer. He played cricket and kept on saying. So the first thing was in the shop. So secondly, of course, first religion, whatever he understood. Secondly, the shop. Thirdly, sports. Emphasize you must have sports. Mm-hmm. And fourthly, he kept on saying, speak about Dale Carnegie, how to make good friends. And he always said you must have friends and entertain people and that kind of stuff. And he lived it. He didn't say it, he lived it. So I went with him to the tennis court. I saw all kind of things that he did. I joined him and helped him wherever I can. And then when, of course, my mother and he were separated, my mother came back to Durban. Both good people, but they just didn't match. My mother came from Durban and he was from Potchefstroom, and I think he was way different. So this happens in life. You have very good people, but sometimes they're not compatible. And the interests are very different. Nothing wrong with the two people. It's just a match. Didn't work. And so I moved to Durban, and my mother didn't have much means. But she said she's going to set up an employment bureau. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is because I learned all the things from them. She said, I'm going to set up an employment bureau. There's nothing more greater than finding a man or a woman a job. They can take care of their families. They have dignity. They're self-sufficient. They don't put their hand out. They feel empowered. They feel, enriched, all that kind of stuff. So she called it Comila Consultants because my stepfather, which she remarried, they came from a place called Comila in Bangladesh. And I used to see big men come in the house. She ran from the house, come and sob. I'm thinking, what's going on here? And he would say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was without a job for 3 years. I can feed my family. And you could see the dignity and, the gratitude in the eyes. And I was just be marveling at what my mother used to do. We didn't have much means, as I said. She would say, look, let's go find the poor people. Even if we do one food parcel, let's do one food parcel. It means something to that family. But we must do it every month. A consistency was what the Holy Prophet spoke about. That whatever you do it small, but be consistent. And that's what I learned from her. And of course, she was a very outgoing type. She met people loved her. She was the first Muslim woman on an Indian radio station, Lotus FM, was started by her. Not started by her, but she was the first presenter.
Okay.
Right? So, and she just had the right voice. She was very bubbly. She laughed, loud kind of stuff. But that's who she was. And you can't change the personality of a person. So I learned that from her. I come back to the point where my father trusted me. And when I accepted to do Gift of the Givers, he said, are you giving up your practice? I said, yes. He said, you studied for 7 years. You're giving that up? I said, yes. And he looked at me like stunned. He said, how are you going to live? I said, it'll be taken care of. Don't worry. Several years later, my father came to me and he said, you did the right thing. I'm so proud of you. I wish I had half the faith you had. I would do the same thing. And the last years, I spent a lot of time with him before he died. I had a car parked off in my warehouse in Joburg. I would fly several times a year from Maritzburg to Joburg, take the car and go and see him. He'll say, come for a day or two. He had cancer. He had cancer of the prostate and cancer of the colon. Stay for a day or two. He would keep me for 8 or 9 days. I would get back home. I would just enter the house. And he would say, can you please come back? And I would turn around and I would fly back. And that, of course, was pre-COVID. So I didn't need to worry about Zoom and all that. I was already running an organization on my phone because it necessitated me doing that by being with him. And from that date up till today, I don't go to my office. My staff don't see me. I don't visit my offices at all, unless there's some special guest coming or it's end of year function or anniversary event, maybe 4 times a year maximum.
Okay. That's a really valuable, I think, background, Doctor. For many people, in hearing your story, it just starts with 1992 and perhaps what happened in Bosnia and what happened in different parts of the world. But I think that's a very valuable introduction to your life. But talking about Gift of the Givers.
So, Doctor, many of us know the work that Gift of the Givers do locally and internationally, but not all of us know how it actually started. Was there ever a time when you thought that your idea wouldn't work and you were ready to give up?
It's not my idea. Gift of the Givers is not my organization. I didn't get up one morning and say to myself, I think today I'm really bored. I need to form an organization. I couldn't. I had 3 practices. I was busy Monday to Sunday, after hours, public holidays, long weekends. I worked long hours in my practice. And again, Allah has a strange way of doing things. In 1984, my mother passed on before I qualified. It was my final year of medicine. In 85, I did internship. And I was hoping to get a post to study internal medicine in 86. It never happened. So my father-in-law said, why don't you move to Maritzburg? Because there were too many doctors. And start here for a while. And then you can go back, like people do that. So I said, good idea. The week I moved to Maritzburg, I moved to a flat in a place called East Street, the center of town. And my neighbor was a butcher. The same week, the butcher comes and tells me, I got this white guy, he's an Afrikaner, he's come from New York, he bought meat from me, but he needs a doctor. So I told him about you, but I don't know you. So, I told him about you. So I said, fine, I'll see him. I met him. I treated him. And after a few weeks, after repeated treatment, he said, you know what, I need to tell you a story. I was walking through the streets of New York. I don't know, but one day I was feeling so down, depressed, demoralized, didn't know what to do with myself. Why was I there? What am I doing? What's the purpose of life? What's the aim of life? What's living what? And whilst I was in that state, I see a man looking at me from the corner of my eye. And the man is standing like around the building. So he says, I don't know what this man is, but my heart tells me to follow him. I'm an Islamic teacher again. When you're lost, the teaching is listen to your heart, not your head. So he goes and he follows the man. The man walks into St. John the Divine. It's a huge church in New York, which I visited on my way to Haiti, specifically because of this incident. So when he gets there, he said he gets a shock. The man he was following was a Muslim, a Sufi master, a Turk, and a master of spirituality. This man made a zikr and people of other traditions followed him in the zikr. So he was stunned. And I've seen this now, my own eyes, afterwards when I went to Turkey. So he said, you need to meet the man. But the specific man that he saw passed away in 1985. I met him in 1986. So I said, I'm going to see the man. He said, not him, the new one. I said, you know the new one? He said, yes, I met him too. You need to see him. He said, every time I talk to you, you sound like him. Not in the words, but in the answers. In your thinking and your understanding. You need to see the man. So I said, Mullah. And then he said, you need to go to Turkey. Because he's from Turkey. So he said, I told him, Mullah, it's 1986. I'm in South Africa. I haven't even seen Cape Town yet. When am I going to see Turkey? So he said something very profound. As a non-Muslim. Very profound. What God wills happens. There's a time and a place. August 91, his words came true. It's a long story. You don't have enough time on this podcast, right? So my wife and I get to Turkey in 91. We saw exactly what he saw. We saw them from different countries, different nationalities, but we saw the peace and respect. I didn't know who the sheikh was because I didn't have a picture. But when the people around, my heart tells me, the man there, that man is the sheikh. And again, to cut a long story short, I made contact with him. I fell in love with the man I don't know, never met, don't speak his language, nothing. I went for Hajj, my wife, first Hajj. It was 1992, May. I was in front of the Razi Mubarak, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if this is the right thing, I need to go back there. I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't understand. August 92, I landed up back in Turkey. 6th August 1992, Thursday night, 10 o'clock. Zikr takes place again. Immediately after the zikr, and to me, if I reflect now, I'm much older now, I have more understanding than when I was that young. I was 30 years old at that time. Something tells me that the sheikh didn't know that instruction was coming. It wasn't pre-planned that he's going to call me, sit me down and tell me, right, like a normal discussion like we're having here. It almost seemed that it came to him through the zikr to instruct me. I stopped the zikr in fluent Turkish. I don't speak a word of Turkish. But that night, I understood every single word that he said in Turkish. He said, my son, I am not asking you, I am instructing you to form an organization. The name he gave was Waqful Waqifin. We couldn't understand the name. And the Moulana in South Africa translated it, but from Arabic to English, you can't get exact. So Gift of the Givers is not an exact translation, but that's what was selected. You will serve all people of all races, all religions, all colors, all classes, all cultures, of any geographical location and of any political affiliation. But you will serve them unconditionally. You will expect nothing in return, not even a thank you. This is an instruction for the rest of your life. Serve people with love, kindness, compassion, and mercy. And remember, the dignity of man is foremost. All the things that I learned from my mother and father. My son, clothe the naked, feed the hungry, provide water to the thirsty, and in everything that you do, be the best at what you do. Not because of ego. Ego is destructive. But because you're dealing with human life, human emotion, human suffering. And then he said, my son, remember this, that whatever you do is done through you and not by you. I'm a living example that everybody in this country thinks I do is not humanly possible. There's a hand that makes these things happen. I get a credit for it. And then I asked him, how come when you speak Turkish, I understand? And other people speak Turkish, I don't understand. He said, my son, when the hearts connect and the souls connect, the words become understandable. I asked him, I'm a doctor. I got 3 practices. What do you want me exactly to do? Is there like a protocol? What am I supposed to do? Give me a clear direction. He looked me in the eye and he said, you will know. For 33 years, I know exactly what to do, how to do, what to touch, what not to touch, when to do, when not to do. It hasn't failed in all this period of time.
So, Doctor, you've also sat across from presidents, board officials, and even quite a lot of grieving mothers. But has there ever been a face that you've never been able to forget, that you've encountered in your work? And why have you never been able to forget this face?
No, I don't take to memory or keep in emotions in me. Everybody here was learning about social distancing and physical distancing. I was training my teams in emotional distancing. I don't get attached to anybody or anything or anyone. You know, I train them when you go to a situation, worry about the situation, not an individual person. The moment you allow yourself to get attached to somebody, it's going to be very difficult to work. You're going to keep thinking of them, and it happened to some of my team members. My wife puts it best. She says, you're an alien. You know, we're not talking about you. When we're talking to people, you're out of the discussion because we're talking about humans. You don't fit in that category. She just tell me straight. So when I have a discussion about emotions, said, you're out. You can't talk here. You don't fit. So, you know, it's that kind of story. And I don't feel anything. I can see kids being bombed. I can see people killed. It doesn't affect me at all. I'm two people. I'm very compassionate and I'm ice cold at the same time. It's difficult to understand, but that's why I'm...
But perhaps, you know, for people who, a younger generation, Doctor, who are quite familiar with Gift of the Givers in perhaps the last 5 or 10 years and how it features in South African discourse, maybe if you could just, you know, rattle off a few of what you feel were some of the milestones of the organization that a younger generation might not be aware of.
Before that, I need to make a point, not to the generation, to our community as a whole. We are too zakat-oriented. No, that's not a bad habit, okay? People misunderstand just now. But zakat is an obligation. It's not free will. If you don't give zakat, you're out. You're not a Muslim. You're out. So it's no free will. You got no choice. You do it out of no choice. What you do out of choice is lillah. And the Prophet ﷺ, we keep getting this thing concept wrong. The Prophet ﷺ didn't come for Muslims. He came as rahmatan lil alameen, as a mercy unto all creation. He dealt with everybody, Jews, Christians, you know, pagan Arabs, everybody, with equal heart. He was generous to his enemies. He was kind. He helped everybody. He was never for Muslims only. And this is a mistake that we make. Do we say that non-Muslims don't have pain and hunger and suffering like Muslims? We need to change the way we think, you know, because a crying child of any race or any religion or any color is a crying child, very much like yours. And what I emphasize to my teams is that when we go out, I don't lead the teams anymore. I stopped because I'm the oldest guy in the team. And succession planning, they need to learn how to do this when I'm dead, you know, and I'm not going to live forever. I'm going to get old and all the diseases comes in and you can't function, right? So I've trained them to do it on their own. The first time they went on their own, they sort of got stuck because they were afraid to make a decision. And they told me, this hospital is shutting down, it's getting damaged, it's damaged by the Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, what must we do? So I told them a simple line. I didn't give them the answer. I gave them a simple line. I said, if it was your mother, your father, your wife or your child, what will you do? They never phoned me again. And they knew exactly what to do from that day up till today. And those were not Muslims. Those were all Catholic Christians, you know, and they helped everybody unconditionally. So our focus in South Africa, 99.9% is non-Muslims. Because this is predominantly a non-Muslim country, right? And it doesn't mean, where do we make our money from? Our clients Muslims? Are they Palestinians? Are they Syrians? Are they Iraqis? Are they Afghanis? Who are our clients? Where do we make our money from? What is the Prophet ﷺ teaching is? Help your neighbor first. Put back in your own community. Does own community mean Muslim only? Does it mean everybody around you? I'm asking this question seriously for the Muslims to open their minds. I'm a very blunt guy. And this is Islamic teaching. It's not my words. Go read it up, check it. It's not my words. And when we do that, you feel the love. And you know what's the best thing about all this? When you serve people unconditionally, as the Sheikh said, they find Allah. And I'll give you a story. 2022, and I'm going to come back to the projects that we do. In 2022, in Komani, Queenstown, winter, cold, July, our truck goes up the mountain in the rural area, hungry, poor black people there. An old lady comes out of the house on crutches. She sees our branding. The whole country knows our branding. They know the moment you see a truck, it's hope. They call us hope wherever we go. They call us the green people who bring hope. And she sees it. She's on crutches. She picks up her hand. She looks heavenward. She says, you never let me down. What was the significance of this? She said, God Almighty, whatever language, she says, I'm hungry. There's no breadwinner. There's no food in the house. The grandchildren are hungry. I need your help. She didn't call me. She didn't call my staff. She didn't call the office. We didn't get an email, a WhatsApp, a fax, or whatever. We don't know about this lady. The truck goes up there and she gets a food parcel and she thanks him because we were the instruments of his mercy. And that's what we do in South Africa and throughout the world. I told you in the beginning, we do agriculture, infrastructure, we upgrade schools, we upgrade hospitals, we do catch-up surgery, we put in medical equipment, we do counseling services, we provide fodder for animals. We've helped the Afrikaner farms with over 400 million rand with trucks and fodder to save the sheep, to save the jobs, to save the farms, to save their lives. We've given them farmers food parcels for themselves and for the people around them. We're involved in floods, hurricanes, disasters. We're specialists in that. You can't touch us. Our teams are the most complete disaster teams in the world. If you've got time, I'll explain you what that means. Or, as I said, we build houses, we give food parcels, we have feeding centers, we have educational projects, we have skills development. There's so many. We give wheelchair distribution. We do a lot of different things. We catch the invasive fish from the lake in Sedgefield in Knysna. We take it, we put it in a refrigerated truck. We go out and distribute it to the people because nobody was eating the fish. We found it lying there. It's getting wasted. They got protein, energy, malnutrition. We catch the fish and we give it to them. Now we went to the angling competitions. They have in Bloemhof Dam, in another dam in, I forgot the name now, in Free State, where they have Karib Dam. They have angling competition and then they bury the fish. It gets thrown away. So we said, can we join you guys? We'll take the fish. We fed close to 85,000 people in 1 week with the fish that was going to be thrown away. And now Kruger Park wants to do things with us. With the culling of animals, they want to do something with us. And like that, it's a spread in different ways. So there's a lot of projects, and sometimes I don't even know what we do because there's so many things that we do.
So, Doctor, you have no personal social media presence. And in today's society, it's posting one video and it goes viral. So this is effectively a very bold statement. So what is your reasoning for this?
I can't. First of all, I'm lucky to stay in my house. I haven't been kicked out yet. I got 2 wives and I got 6 kids and I got 9 grandchildren. I'm barely allowed in the house by the certain thread. Can you imagine? I guess every day I've been told, you're here, but you're not here. You're married to your phone. You're married to your work. You don't know that's your wife. I've been told that every day, which is right. It's correct. The total disaster in my life is I've totally neglected my wife's my children. I can't fix that. I've done this for 33 years. No, more than that, sorry. I've done this from the time of medical school. 84, I got married. 85 was internship, long hours. 86 to 92, 94 when I had my practice was after hours, public holidays and long weekends. And then it was gift of the givers. I work 21 hours a day. I sleep 3 hours a night. Right? So I'm never home. And they tell me, yeah, but you're not conscious. And my wife is a psychologist. So I hear all the right words, that you're not mindful, you're unconscious, you're not present, you this and you that and the other, and I can't fight her, I don't know what to say. She says all the right things, and I'm stuck, right? So it's all those kind of stuff. And imagine if I had a social media presence and I have to respond to everything. I don't need to respond to anything. Our media profile is so huge, it says everything. I'm not interested in a profile for myself. I'm trying to take the profile away from me because I'm not going to live forever. That's the danger of this thing. Everyone wants to come to me, but they need to learn to deal with other people. If I'm going to die, what the hell's going to happen? So we've created different teams. I got a corporate team. I don't talk to the corporates at all. I don't talk to the government at all. They talk to them. They want something specific, then I'll talk to the government. Or the corporates call me to speak, and the government calls me to speak an event, then I will go. But other than that, I don't talk to them. And then I've got the transport fleet management, and my son has joined me. And he's an engineer, and I've given him responsibility. He looks after the other countries, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Somalia, Yemen, Gaza, West Bank, Turkey, Egypt, all those places. We are now expanding to Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. So he takes care of that. Plus he takes care of the logistics, the financial guys. We got financial teams, we got secretaries, we got fleet managers, we got project managers, but my main guys are the guys in the field. Because they're in direct contact with the people, and that's where I am. I'm with my teams on the ground. The rest of the people don't see me. And it's all about, each one knows his role. I got head of a medical team, head of search and rescue team, dog team, boat team, building team, drilling team, toilet evolution block team. Everybody does that kind of stuff. So if I drop dead, 95% of these things can happen without me. The problem is everybody wants my face. They want my face. They want my voice. They want to see me. That's the challenge. And this is slowly, I'm trying to bring other people in, that if you don't see me, things don't stop. There are other people. Unfortunately, we are getting there slowly where people can say, okay, he can't make it, but it's okay. The other guy is fine. It's his second in charge or his person. I need to train them, because otherwise the organization will collapse.
Why don't you explore, perhaps, as we have a limited amount of time, Doctor, this is the big talking point at the moment. Obviously, the world has changed irreversibly after the genocide in Gaza, and we find that many people have held back. People say, let's not mix religion and politics, and let's not mix humanitarianism and politics. And that's the kind of fear, or I think as you've called it previously, cowardice, that has directed people's approaches to this matter. You haven't held back, which is kind of atypical. If you would bear me out why I would say this, people would say that you were motivated from a kind of Sufist background, right? And that would be pacifist, and that, people of that kind of background would dare not go into politics and express themselves in the way that you did. But you've done that. Explain to us where that courage comes from, not mincing your words. And then also, has this exposed, if you'd say, the true colors of people who were previously shouting your praises, now suddenly attach the word controversial to you and do not want to work with you? And how prevalent is that?
First of all, Sufism is not pacifism. You need to understand that very clearly. Sufism is an extension of Sharia, right? It's the tariqah. The problem with the world is everybody looks at things from a geopolitical perspective. We don't look at it from a Quranic perspective. That's why I'm different. I don't look at things. That's why they mad at me because I say I don't follow international law. I don't. Listen to it again. I don't follow international law. Get it straight, okay? Because international law, how many international laws have America, Israel, Europe and other countries broken? Their law allows them to go and kill people. My law is the law of Allah, which says you save lives. You don't kill people. You intervene. I walked into Syria illegally. I told our government, I'm going to enter illegally and nobody's going to stop me. And a week later, they passed a motion of commendation in parliament for gift of the givers entering Syria. Because we didn't go to kill anybody. We went to save lives. So I break international law because to save lives, that's what I do. Because Islam teaches me humanity, mercy, compassion comes first. Other people are shouting on the other side, he doesn't follow international law. How many international laws have they followed? And they break the law without going to the United Nations. They bombed Iraq and said as weapons of mass destruction. They lied. On the basis of lies, they killed over 1 million people. So America, to get collectively in the last 20 years, you've killed 36 million people. So you have no grounds to speak about anything. Israel, you've been lying for 76 years. And the truth had to be exposed. So number one, it's Quranic concept. Number two, what does Allah say in the Quran? Very clearly, stand up for injustice. Stand up for the oppressed. Stand up against the oppressor. It's a very clear Quranic instruction. What's so complicated to understand in that? And these words of religious and politics and humanitarian are all names to distract you, to take you away from the truth, to make you scared. Anti-Semitic. What the hell does that mean? Arab Semites? So the greatest anti-Semites are the Israelis, killing Palestinians. What are they talking about? Right? So this word is quite boring now. They need to find a new narrative. They sound stupid every time they speak, to be honest. And they're so irrational. And inebriated alcoholic sounds more rational than them. Right? So it just makes no sense to me what they're saying. And the thing is, they control the world by fear. They put fear into you. Oh, you're anti-Semitic. We're going to pass the law. We're going to take you to court. We got the money. So I told them, you got money. I got money too. You got laws, legal teams. I got legal teams too. You got power. I got power too. You got influence. I got influence too. So let's go. Get to it. And you can see the influence is breaking everywhere. It's breaking because the truth comes out. So the second thing is you fight oppression and injustice. If you don't fight it, what does the teaching say? You are complicit. So are you prepared to be scared, be a coward, not use the words, or you say you can't mix religion and politics, humanitarian? I have a simple question, what I said before. If it was your child in death struggle, what would you expect the Muslim world to do? Is it so difficult to answer that question? Because you're not involved. No, you can't get involved in this. Our businesses are linked to this. Your business, who gives you money? Does it come from people or does it come from Allah? Who's the provider of sustenance? It's testing your faith. What did I tell you at the beginning? We got more Quran, more Hadith, more fast, more Islamic schools, more Islamic institutions, more fasting, but we don't have faith. Sorry, we don't have faith. We are too afraid. If you had faith, you won't care where the sustenance come from. You won't care what anybody has to tell you. You won't care who's going to challenge you because you know there is Allah. Who's proven that to you? The Palestinians. 2.1 million people have changed the course of 8 billion people in the world. People look at them and said, what is this? How can they still go on? How can they have faith? When somebody kills them, they still believe in their God. What kind of people is this? When we get a lovely car, we get a wife, we get a baby, we get a house, we get a new job, we say, oh Allah, you're so merciful. Thank you very much. You know what the Palestinians say? Oh Allah, thank you for taking my child in your path. Thank you for taking my wife. Thank you for taking my whole family. You can take the rest too. That is how they say thank you. That is faith, not what we have. We don't have faith. This is games that we're playing. So I'm not afraid of anyone, because I'm not going to die one day later than my time's up or one day earlier. That's exactly what's going to happen. So, and then of course, they use the word politics. What is politics? When they say politics, am I interfering in the internal politics of Israel? Am I telling one political party stand against the government? No, that is interference in politics. I'm saying you are killing innocent people. This is not politics. This is humanitarian. Yeah. So if your hostages got killed, we don't agree to that because all life is sacred. Islam teaches us we can't kill innocent people. That's our teaching. So we cannot agree with that. As you felt it for your hostages were being killed, why did you go and kill unarmed people, starved people to death? That's totally unacceptable. The next point about this, I wanted to reveal the truth. The Quran says very clearly, truth has now arrived and falsehood perished. For falsehood by its nature is bound to perish. Allah's words have never been proven more correctly in recent times than in this 2.5-year war. And it's not a war. A war is there's two armies on both sides. There are no two armies on both sides. There's the third largest army on earth, supported by America and Europe at one stage, with Zionist money, Western money, imperialist money, colonialist money, Arab money, useless Arab nations who have failed the Muslim Ummah, who pray, they say they pray, they make dua, they don't allow you to make dua, you can't carry a Palestinian flag, you can't wear a Palestinian shirt, they say we're brothers to you, lies, hypocrisy. All this has been done. In spite of that, in 1967, in 6 days, the Israeli army wiped out 3 armies, Syrian, Jordanian, and Egypt, big nations. In October 7 up till now, they can't wipe out an unarmed nation. The most sophisticated weapons in the world, starvation, no water, no electricity, no medical services, bombed 35 hospitals, killed all the doctors, killed all the journalists, killed the news, and these people had no support from Muslim brothers and sisters in 54 countries. And they survived. Isn't that the power of Allah? Isn't He showing you the real victory? That is faith. So why should I keep quiet?
So, Doctor, you've been giving to others for quite a few decades now. But here you are sitting today in front of students who are going to build the next chapter of this country. What do you need from us and from them in order to continue your work and to build stronger communities?
I only need one thing from students, nothing else: compassion. That's all I need, nothing else. And you can understand what compassion really means. It means what you want for yourself, what I keep repeating, for your child, for your family, for your mother, for the old person in your house. What you want in your own house for yourself. You would do everything possible to help somebody else. That's all you need. Your study must help somebody else. Your earning must help somebody else. Your good habits must help somebody else, because you would want somebody else to do that to you. If you can do that, be in integrity, be honest, be just, be fair, don't do people down, don't be hypocritical, don't lie, don't backbite, don't hurt people. I'm not saying I don't do that. I'm just, some people think I'm a pure human being. I'm not. I got my own faults, right? I'm a human being. Yes, I have a lot of mistakes. But teachers told me something very nice. He said, people may have bad habits. It doesn't make them bad people. So there is no perfect human being. We all try to work around faults. I know what my faults are. My family knows what my faults are. And you try to work on that. You make mistakes. But overall, your intention, if it's to do good, you do good. And that's all you got to do. It's not about yourself. It's not about being selfish. It's about sharing. This is the teaching of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. This is what real Islam is all about.
Doctor, what is one thing that you would, one word for the people of South Africa?
The greatest nation on earth. No doubt about it. Absolutely the greatest nation on earth. You've never seen people, when the world's G20 was here, what was the report? Not about how it was organized, what the administration was like, how the streets looked, the lights were working, everything was working that day. They didn't speak about that. They spoke about the quality of our people in South Africa. Between the foreigners coming for Table Mountain and for the beach, the sea is the same all over the world to me, to be honest. Right? They don't come for that. They come because they're shown love by our people. People smile at them. People talk to them. People give them directions, even if it's incorrect, But they do that for them. And these are the same people who are hungry, who don't have transport fare, who don't have jobs, who don't take out the difficulty on outsiders. They show love to the outsiders. I've spoken at the Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber. A German man came after I spoke, and he says, "You people are a crazy nation." So I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You guys fight about everything. But when it comes to common issues, no nation on earth can touch you. You all stand together. You are an amazing people. I brought my wife to South Africa 3 times. I'm being deceptive. I want to get her, I want to force her to love this country because I want to stay here." Foreigners understand how beautiful our country is. Not buildings, not Kruger Park, not attractions. Our people, South Africans, are the ones who don't understand our own country. But it has changed. Thousands of South Africans, 70,000 South Africans came back. Much more than that are coming back. And the last few months, many want to come back. All they want is an opportunity to serve the country. And many South Africans will come back, and many foreigners will want to come to our country. And you can see the tourist figures are going like crazy in our country. People want to be here. Again, it's not about infrastructure. It's about the quality of our people. And people in this country from different religions, they have faith, they have values, they have systems, they have good hearts. The spirit of Ubuntu that we talk about is across 65 million people. We're not going to get 100%, of course, but in general, 65 million South Africans are very caring people.
Dr. Wade, the tail end of this, there's a lot more that just flows from what you've said that we'd like to explore, but just 2 quick interventions. One is a kind of tradition for this particular podcast, which I'll come to. But just before that, I know the principal is sitting here in our company, but I'll go over his head for a moment. And what I've been asked to put to you is that if you were principal of the school for one day, what rule would you institute and make mandatory upon students and staff?
I said it already. Compassion. Because I was speaking in a medical function, an anesthetic congress at the Santon Convention Center. And after I spoke, a doctor gets up and he says, "If I make you in charge of all the medical schools in South Africa, what would you teach?" I said, "Besides medicine, I'll teach compassion." Because it's humanity. It's the one quality that makes a difference to everybody's life. Nothing else can do that. If you don't have that, you can be the highest doctor, the most skilled professor, the most skilled engineer. But if you don't have compassion, you are nobody. You can't serve people if you don't have that. And we've lost it in a lot of our fields, in a lot of our professions.
And lastly, Doctor, relating to this tradition, so for between classes here on QIA, every previous guest pens down a question that is passed on to the next guest. And perhaps you've answered that question profusely already, the question that has been posed by the previous guest of this podcast, but I'll put it to you. In conclusion here this morning, what is the world missing today?
I've answered that, as you said. That it's so clear what the world is missing.
It's almost as if this question has been destined for you, Doctor.
Yeah. It's an innate human quality. It's something that has to be harnessed, and that comes from practice, from seeing people together. That's why the Prophet ﷺ taught, better to be alone than to be in the company of the bad, and better to be in the company of the good than to be alone, because then you learn qualities from the people of the good.
And on that note, we bring this episode of Between Classes by QIA to an end. We could have spoken for quite a lot more, but every moment would have been worth it. On behalf of the students, staff and management of QIA, we extend our deepest gratitude to you, Dr. Imtiaz. Jazakallah khairan, Dr. Imtiaz, for honoring our invitation, despite your extraordinary demands on time. May Allah Ta'ala accept every sacrifice for you and the gift of the givers family have ever made. Grant you and your team sincerity in all that you do and continue to expand your reach, your impact and your barakah. May those who hear your story leave changed. To our listeners, we hope that this conversation stirred something in you. Subscribe to Between Classes by QIA so you never miss an episode. Engage with us on social media, and if you have an idea for a future guest or topic, we want to hear it from you. Drop us a message. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.